that you don't wanna lose what we had. Oh, you're the one that I need. Let's just take it slow and just breathe. Loving someone is not easy, you know, but it makes us feel alive, so we go with the flow. Just love me harder, have no mercy on me, just tell me louder. If you're loving me, just love me harder, have no mercy on me, tell me louder. If you're loving me, can I tell you what I want? Can I tell you what I need? Can I tell you what I want? Can I tell you what I need?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Daily Grind Fantasy 5 game slate breakdown. Happy NFL Sunday to everybody. Right now, there's currently an NFL game going on, so we'll try to keep this short and sweet, straight to the point. Hopefully no crazy injury news on this slate, which there will probably be during this live stream. We'll break down absolutely everything that we possibly can. Thank you for everybody tuning in. I know we're taking away from your NFL time, but, you know, you can multitask, right? Have our live stream on and also watch the NFL game. What's going on, TJ?
Hi.
What's up?
Nothing. I'm trying to multitask.
I know. I can't watch it at all because I have my Streamlabs on the right side and I have our main screen on the left. So I want to get this over with. TJ, let's cover this and let's give the people what they want. Give them all the right plays. Where do you want to start on this slate?
Well, we can't start with Washington. Let's go. Is Orlando updated?
In terms of minutes.
No, they're not. Let's start with Atlanta and Milwaukee.
Okay.
Or we're pending Capella. Okay. Start with Cleveland and Celtics. Let's start with the 7 o'clock game, one of them.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start with Boston. Right now we have Jason Tatum and Pritchard both out, and I have League of Legends pulled up right now. So let me get onto the right page here. Don't know why that was up there. All right. I closed the wrong tab. So let's go ahead and start with the Boston Celtics. Right now we have Jason Tatum and Pritchard out. Who does that benefit the most, CJ?
So with Tatum and with Pritchard off the floor, Matt, I'm looking to two guys. It's going to be Jaylen Brown, and I'm looking at Kemba Walker. When it comes to JB, he gets a 3.7% usage bump. He's a 1.5 fantasy point per minute and a 34.7% usage rate. And then Kemba Walker at 6,300, looking like those minutes are starting to creep up after coming back from injury. Played 19, about 20-ish minutes against the Knicks opening night. For him at least, 22 against Philly, and then 29 again against Philly 2 days later. So I'm looking for him to play like maybe 30 max. And even with that being said, I still think he is going to be viable. He is carrying some ownership as well. He's a 1.35 fantasy point per minute so far this year, has not been afraid to shoot the ball, 33.2% usage rate in those 3 games since he's been back. So I do like Kemba at 6,300. I honestly think both are viable in cash. And that's really all I'm looking at, Matt. I wouldn't mind taking a stab with Teague at 3,900. More of a tournament play for me. 4.4% usage bump and a 0.94 fantasy point per minute. Third highest usage rate on the team with 24.3%. So all in all, JB and Kemba for me. I think both are cash viable.
Yeah, I was actually surprised to see Kemba Walker's ownership actually above Jaylen Brown's. Jaylen Brown only showing 18.1% ownership. You said he's cash viable. I completely agree with you. At that ownership, though, he's definitely more of a GPP option. We'll see ownership kind of shift off of him, I think, as soon as we get the Spurs injury news, the Washington Wizards injury news. Hopefully one of those guys are ruled out for them. But yeah, I think Kemba Walker, definitely a cash option just based on what he's been doing. $6,300 is definitely not that bad of a price tag for that caliber of a player. The only thing I'm skeptical about right now is that over under a 212 is pretty low. And I think that's the reason for everybody being off of Jaylen Brown. I wouldn't look towards that too much. He's going to be getting so much usage, TJ. I think you can agree with this. I don't think that the pace of the game will dictate how well he plays tonight.
Yes. Okay. Agree.
All right, let's move on to 1 second. Let me pull up the injury report. Do you want to go to Orlando now since we have an updated picture on what we're looking at there?
Do
you have minutes? I think
Okay,
I do. So what are you showing for Cole Anthony?
29. What
30?
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him. What about? Okay, no, they got updated.
It went up. That's why I was wondering. Okay, then let's go ahead and crunch his numbers here on stream. Or unless you already have them.
For us. Yeah, I have them. I just
Okay.
Put the
Because I don't.
Birch, Bacon at 25, and then okay. Yeah. So looking at this picture, Matt, for me, I really like Vooch in cash now at 9,100. I liked him before this news, and I like him even more now with Michael Carter-Williams and Aaron Gordon off the floor. Vooch gets a 6% usage bump. He's a 1.47 fantasy point per minit and a 35% usage rate, Matt. A 35% usage rate for a big man down low.
Yeah.
Vooch can obviously stretch the floor and bang down some threes, so don't get it twisted. But yeah, I have Vooch as a 6.16 value on the sheet, 56 DraftKings points I haven't pegged at, so I love Vooch at 9,100. He's carrying some ownership. I expect that to go up a little bit now with Gordon being off the floor. I don't hate James Ennis either if you're landing there at 3,400. He is getting the start. I know, 28 minutes. He gets a, where are you, James? 4% usage bump, 0.69 fantasy point per minute. So nothing special, but if you're landing there as a cheap play, I don't hate it. Again, probably better value from Washington, especially if Westbrook is off the floor. But if Westbrook's in and you're looking for some value, I don't hate going Dennis.
All right. I'm finishing up the
I don't
calculations
hate Birch
now.
either, honestly.
Birch? Oh, Birch. I think said Birch. I was like,
yeah.
Hey, wrong team.
He's going to carry some ownership too. I don't hate him, but I don't think I'll get there in cash.
Any interest in Gary Clark? He's showing 28 minutes.
No.
You serious? No love for Gary Clark, $3,000?
0.55 fantasy point per minute. It's either going to be him or Ennis. I won't take either one of I'm not gonna take both of them if I'm playing cash. If I land on one, I could see myself doing that, and I'd rather prefer James Ennis, honestly.
Okay.
Can Gary Clark get you 15? Sure, of course. Will I take my chances there? Probably not. I would do it in tournaments, but I wouldn't go there in cash.
Okay. All right. Well, that was pretty straightforward. So yeah, I definitely have some
Brady again. Sorry.
They just picked him?
Yeah, again.
What's the score now?
3 picks for Brady. 28-23.
Oh, so okay. How much time's left?
10 minutes left.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Said uh-oh.
So, Evan Fournier, 5.7 point per dollar value. We have Vucevic, a 5.7 point per dollar value. The highest owned, I think he's going to be even higher owned now, TJ. So right, for cash, are you considering him? And you said Birch.
Vooch? No, I'm considering Vooch, and I would be considering James Ennis as well. I would consider Birch for tournaments. Gary Clark's, his ownership's going to shoot up for sure because he is 3K, but I don't really have too much interest in him. More of a tournament play, unless I see that ownership going up crazy.
The only reason I said is because they actually did update the ownership just a little bit for some reason, and it's only on Birch. He's actually at 24.8% owned.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah, so I don't see anybody else up here, but
I'm assuming Ennis, and I think that'll fluctuate a little bit here shortly.
Yeah, for sure.
I would think, but maybe not.
So yeah, let's talk about the injury news that we're waiting for, guys. Right now we are awaiting the Washington news and also San Antonio. San Antonio not anymore, correct? Yes, DeJounte Murray is playing.
We're still waiting on DeJounte.
Okay, because it shows him active. Yeah.
He's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So Washington will shake up the slate. It's basically the Russell Westbrook news. But if Russell Westbrook is playing, that's going to be a team that we are targeting anyway. Correct, TJ?
If Westbrook is playing, will we be targeting Washington?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. There's still some good value here.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about that because I feel like that's the last piece of chalk that we have to talk about, and then we can talk about individual players. Yes. Okay. So right now we have Garrison Matthews, 24 minutes, 25.1% owned. We have Bradley Beal showing some ownership. Of course, that's totally dependent on Russell Westbrook. I don't hate him if Russell Westbrook plays, but definitely more of a GPP option. Right now, Russell Westbrook is projected at 4.3%. That's definitely not true if he does play. 35 minutes is what he's projected at. Who are you targeting, at least value-wise, on this team, TJ, for Washington?
So value-wise, I do like Garrison Matthews, Matthews, however you pronounce his last name. He's only got 1 T. You know, I got a buddy that I went to college with that.
I just noticed that. Oops.
Matthew, and he only has 1 T, and we told him that he was so stupid that his parents just went with it and only gave him 1 T.
Well, for what it's worth, my name is spelled correctly.
Okay. You have 2 T's. It should be with 1 based on your brain. But Garrison Matthews, Matt, carrying the ownership makes sense to me. 3,400. He's a 1.07 fantasy point per minute off the bench for the Wizards, with everybody with everybody in not injured. So
so I have to deal with right here.
The Wizards are dealing with. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, so everybody off the floor, it's only going to increase his fantasy point per minute for sure. He's a 21% usage rate too, which is actually the 3rd highest out of everybody that is active tonight or potentially active. So I do like Garrison Matthews off the bench. I wouldn't hate Jerome Robinson if he is starting, but more of a tournament play for me. So if I'm looking at value, Matt, Garrison Matthews is the guy that I am looking at. You know, we're going to get questions about Westbrook and Beal. I think they're both honestly viable if they're good to go. I'd rather go Beal over Westbrook. We haven't seen these guys play yeah, I would. I'd rather go Beal. We haven't seen these guys play in legitimately 2 weeks. Well, because Westbrook's still dealing with that quad apparently, but they haven't played in 13 days. So it's unclear to see what the situation is going to be like in Washington. Robin Lopez at 4,600. Like, I don't hate him. But again, for me, I really like Garrison Matthews. He'll probably be in my cash lineup with or without Westbrook, with or without NATO. And then if I am paying up, I probably give it to Beal over Westbrook tonight.
Okay, I completely agree with you. Yeah, there's only one value play that I'm looking at right now. Of course, if Russell Westbrook is held out, we're going to go straight back to the Wizards. And if it does come out after lock, guys, target the Wizards, please. If Russell Westbrook is out, load up on them. Seriously, absolutely load up on them. And tonight would be a good night to join the Discord and our Patreon, because again, we'll be updating our favorite plays once that does come out. Hopefully we get it before lock, but if we do not, we will be updating inside the Discord and Patreon. Now let's bounce around some of these other plays, TJ. There's definitely a couple that stand out. In the Portland-New York game, we have obviously the injury news still out for Portland, that being McCollum, Nurkic, and Collins. So let's pay a visit to them. Right now, Damian Lillard is carrying 30.3% ownership for obvious reasons. With those injuries, he does get a slight usage boost, and when I say slight, I mean massive. Also gets a 1.35 fantasy point per minute output, and has been down this year because we expected him to be around that 1.51 mark from last season. He's now only at 1.35, and against the New York Knicks, not in the best pace spot for him. What are your thoughts on Damian Lillard and the rest of these Portland Trailblazers?
Sino just said, have you seen the forehead on Jerome Robinson? Obvious lock, the BC alum. I love that, Sino. Yeah, so I think there's some value here in Portland, Matt. I think there's some decent cheap plays, and I'm trying to build cash lineups without Dame, and I feel so stupid for doing that and even considering it. At 10K.
10K is expensive, though.
I know. With CJ and Nurk off the floor, he's a 1.35 fantasy point per minute, like you alluded to, with 31.6% usage rate. But I do like him tonight at 10K. If you are getting him in cash, I think he is viable, clearly carrying the ownership. And then the 2 cheap guys that I am looking at are going to be Derek Jones Jr. and Rodney Hood. Interested to see if both of them start. If they do, I do think you can go there if you want. DJ's Derek Jones is currently projected at 31 minutes, Matt. He's a 0.8 fantasy point per minute
Not
with
bad.
Nurkic and CJ off the floor. Yeah, only a 12% usage rate, but I'm not too worried about that. Guy that can get you some steals, some blocks, can kind of fill the stat sheet out. So I don't hate him at 3,900. And then Rodney Hood, if he starts again, looked fantastic. When he did start last game, again, we haven't seen these guys in a little bit because of the COVID tracings. They haven't played in a week. So I don't hate Rodney Hood either. 26 minutes projected at right now, Matt. He gets a 3.7% usage bump with Nurk and CJ off the floor, 0.81 fantasy point per minute. So right there with Derek Jones Jr. in terms of fantasy point production. So I don't hate him either as a last piece if you are landing there. So I do think there's some good cash plays here against the Knicks. I am a little weary of that over under, but even with that being said, with Nurk and CJ off the floor, there's definitely some value.
Yeah, we're busy over here looking at Jerome Robinson's forehead. I completely agree with everything you just said. Rodney Hood and Derek Jones do pop on the sheet, averaging close to the fantasy point per minute, the exact same, 0.8. Definitely not that bad. And like you said, when Nurkic has been off the floor, these two have shown up a little bit more than they were in past games. 14.7% on Derek Jones. I actually really do like him. I think he's close to cash viable, assuming that Russell Westbrook does play and that we have a lack of some value. Derek Jones really isn't that bad of a play at $3,900. And of course, you guys always know I preach about projected minutes. He's projected over 30 minutes, 3.9K. Pretty safe in my eyes. Rodney Hood can say pretty much the exact same thing. Only projected 27 minutes, but like you said, has been stepping up. Cantor, 23.9%, so definitely cash viable. I'm not in love with Cantor.
Yeah.
Of course, it is his old team technically.
Yeah, I think he's a fringe cash play. If you land there, I wouldn't hate it, but I think I'd rather go to those cheaper guys and try and build elsewhere. But yeah, if you do land on Cantor, I think he is viable.
Yeah. I just have so many mixed feelings about Cantor. He's so hit or miss. At least, I don't want to talk about it. Cantor, $6,200 is very good.
Knicks are 30th in the NBA against opposing centers. I don't know if that
it's showing on Fantasy Cruncher something different. I don't know why Fantasy Cruncher is always out of whack with their defense first possession or first position, but yeah, it shows 15th for me. So I don't know why that is. Anyway,
we'll call it 1530.
1530. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's move on to some more chalk here. We're looking strictly at ownership. Next on the board is actually going to be the Bucks. Let's go and take a look at the Bucks, the more obvious choice, assuming that the games stay competitive. TJ, Giannis and Middleton, right? You have to go there. So are they cash locks?
Are Giannis and Middleton cash locks? I don't think they're
one
locks,
or the other.
But yeah, you probably are going to want one or the other. I think I lean Giannis here, especially if this game can be competitive against Atlanta. We are waiting to see if Trae Young's going to be good to go. And then even with Trae Young, Capella got added to the injury report. So that's something we have to keep an eye on, because if Capella's out, then I'll really like John Collins at his price tag. But yeah, Matt, I think you can get one of those guys in cash and feel pretty good about a good matchup against Atlanta on the highest over under that we have on the slate, or second highest, right there with Washington and San Antonio. So I think they're both cash viable in a good spot. I did like Drew against the Lakers when he was 6,600. I think I'd be off of him a little bit now at 7,300. More of a tournament play for me, especially at the ownership that he is showing. The Atlanta guards are not very good defensively. So, I could see a pretty big game from Drew, but more of a tournament play for me. I'm not going to go there in cash. And that's really the interest that I have. Connaughton's pretty cheap at 3,600 as like a punt for tournaments if you're going there. But in terms of cash, yeah, I think if you get one of Giannis or Middleton, I think that's fine.
You'll cover your bases.
I would lean. I'd lean Giannis.
Okay. I completely agree with everything you just said, but we also have to pay attention to the other side of the ball here. Capella was added to the injury report late, which usually doesn't bode well for players that are added to the injury report like that, especially this late in the day. Trae Young is also technically questionable, so imagine the value that would open up for Atlanta if that actually did happen.
That would be tread lightly, because, man, imagine them playing against Milwaukee with no Trae or Capella. Legitimately, their two best offensive weapons, already 8.5-point dogs if they do play. That would be, I don't know. That'd be tough to gauge. But, yeah, no, I completely get what you're saying. There would be a ton of value for sure.
Yeah, so do you even want to touch base on that team if that happens, or do you just want to avoid that until it does?
Well, if Capella is off the floor, Matt, Trae Young's a 1.7 fantasy point per minute, and
Makes
John
sense.
Collins is a 1.25 fantasy point per minute.
Okay.
That is Bogdanovich off the court as well. So
Okay.
I would have heavy interest in both of those guys, honestly. Trae Young would be a 35.3% usage rate, and then John Collins 24.5. So the two highest fantasy points per minutes, obviously, and the two highest usage rates. So if Capella just sits, which is kind of what I would think would happen, I think Trae Young's going to play. If anybody sits, I think it is Capella. So if they're out, man, I'm looking at John Collins and Trae Young for cash. But yeah, we're not going to know until we know. And I think if they're both good to go, I do like Capella at 8,500. So we talked about it in our video. I still think he is underpriced. With just Bogdanovich off the floor, Matt, he gets a 1.5% usage bump. He's a 1.41 fantasy point per minute this year, 21% usage rate. We've seen how productive he's been down low for them. The rebound numbers are just absolutely insane. He had 26 rebounds the other night against Detroit. Like, that's ludicrous.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I still would like Capella if everybody's healthy. If he's out, then there's some serious value.
Yeah, for sure. Completely agree with everything you just said. I think if one of those guys are ruled out, you should probably go Atlanta, even more so than Washington. I think it's pretty.
Yeah.
I think you have to look at individual players at that point, but they're both fantastic for value. And I do think that we're going to get that injury news after lock, TJ, unfortunately. So let's talk about one last team here, and then we'll go to GPP plays, cash plays, and then we'll get to some questions. Yeah, the Spurs. So assuming that DeJounte Murray does play, which he's available. Yep. Very first.
Yeah, I blacked out.
Yeah, it's okay. DeMar DeRozan, I guess, is the only guy that I'm considering, and maybe DeJounte Murray, $7,000. Are you considering them for cash?
For DeRozan, I am considering him. I think there's a lot of good cash pieces tonight. Again, only a 5-game slate, so the ownership is a little, it's a little heavy on some specific guys. But yeah, with Derek White off the floor, Matt, DeMar's a 1.18 fantasy point per minute, so the highest on the team, 25% usage rate, second highest on the team behind Aldridge, surprisingly. Rates out the best on the sheet currently. I have him pegged for a 5.4 value, 41 DraftKings points. So I do like DeRozan as a cash play if you're landing there. Fantastic up-pace matchup agaget Washington as well. So yeah, if I'm landing anywhere for cash, I like DeRozan. I don't hate Aldridge, honestly, at 6K. But yeah, I think there's some serious value here, especially in this matchup against Washington.
Yep, completely agree with you. I want to beat to the chase here. We're gonna try to get off here relatively soon, just so we can go all watch the NFL game. So let's go ahead straight into cash options and GPP plays. TJ's trying to peek a look here at the game. What's the score, by the way? Oh, can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah, now I can hear you.
You hear me?
Yeah, what's the score?
I dropped my controller. It unplugged. $31.23.
Oh, okay. So still a game.
Yeah,
all right.
My controller.
Let's go on the cash locks. If we had to lock in a cash core right now, assuming that Atlanta and Washington are good to go, which shouldn't happen, who are you locking in for cash, TJ?
So assuming Atlanta and Washington are good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't play the what if games, can we?
No, I would go Vooch. I'd probably go Dame. He's gonna play like 40 minutes if that game's competitive. Vooch, Dame, Kemba, DeRozan probably, or Garrison Matthews. I think that's a good core. I and if you're doing that, I don't think you can get Jalen. So it's tough to build tonight.
Which explains his ownership.
I think that explains his ownership. And with Kemba being there, I think that potentially takes away from his usage a little bit. Because a lot of those numbers that we read, Matt, with Tatum off the floor, Kemba wasn't there. But Jalen did have a really good performance last game against Philly. So the capability is there alongside Kemba for sure. But yeah, I think I'd go Vooch, Dame, Kemba, and then I think I'd go Garrison Matthews for some cheap value at 3,400. DeRozan's in play too. Giannis. I mean, there's so many good plays tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to completely agree with you. If I'm looking and comparing some of these studs, like for instance Lillard against Giannis, I'm going to go with the higher over/under. TJ, I know Dame's in such a good spot, but my love for Giannis, especially if Trae Young or Capella does play and keeps it competitive, right?
Sure.
Now, it's a completely different story if those guys are ruled out, but I do like Giannis as a cash lock. I like Vooch. I also like Matthews, like you said, and I'm going to have to go with Kemba as well. So I believe, did you say those exact cash locks?
So yeah, we just have the same lineup.
Okay. Got it.
I don't hate that though. I like having the same lineup.
I tried to ignore you, so.
Yeah, well.
I usually try to do anyway. All right. Okay, let's move on. Do you want to do GPP? I feel like we already covered GPP.
Yeah, we can do whatever your heart desires.
I say we go straight to questions.
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to go check in the Discord, guys. Feel free to spam any questions into the YouTube chat.
Oh, we didn't talk about Alec Burks.
GPP, right?
Alec Burks is a good play.
Yep. Alec Burks is great.
Yeah.
So is Julius Randle, by the way.
Yes. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to fix something. You got any questions in the Discord, Matt? Anybody alive over there? I know there's a lot going on.
Sorry, I was looking at some of the chats. Cash Core, just went over that. That's the only question they have. Moving on.
Perfect. Well, there we go. Let's see what we got here, Matt. No Teague. Dre, yeah, we talked about Teague a little bit. More of a tournament play here. Noodle arm Brady. Yeah, Chris, he kind of looks like a little noodle arm here. We got 31-23, 3 minutes left. There's 176 of you watching us and not Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. You guys are incredible. What about NATO? I guess I don't hate NATO. I think I'd rather go to those cheaper plays for Washington, honestly. Vooch for the night. Vooch for the win in cash. Yeah, Matthew. I'm locking in Vooch. Canner, we touch base on. More of a fringe tournament play for me. I'm not going to go there in cash. Sano likes Jerome Robinson. I don't hate him. I want to see that starting lineup, Sano. We have the projection, but I want to see it. Hopefully we get it before lock, but I don't think we're going to get it. Reddish tonight. I'm not on for cash. How am I supposed to pay it for Giannis if I get Beal and Vooch? It's tough. I think you can get all three of them, but you're not going to have Kemba. You're not going to have DeRozan. You're not going to have Jaylen Brown. You're not going to have those mid-tier guys that are showing really well. That's for certain.
I got a question here. Cash lineup pre-news: Lillard, Brown, Giannis. I keep saying Giannis. It's Ennis. Sorry. Derek Jones, Vooch, Matthews, Middleton, Hood. I actually like that. Hood is a question mark for me at least for cash.
I like him if he starts.
Yeah.
If he starts.
And it looks like you got Middleton in there, so you have some Milwaukee exposure. Yeah, I like that overall. If Westbrook is out, Beal or Giannis for tiers? That's a really good question. Beal? Okay.
Yeah, I'm on Beal.
I think I can agree with that, but it's not by much. I think that's a toss-up. But Beal has shown some great upside. And it's a great matchup for both of them, really. Jordan Bell get more minutes than Alex Len? Good question.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
He will.
Okay. Well, then that's all the questions I have.
Okay. Yeah, Jordan Bell will get... Jordan Bell could sneaky get some time tonight. And at 3K, I wouldn't mind.
There's some guys from France in here. Awesome.
Yeah, tournament play for me. Nothing for cash with Jordan Bell. Top Shot is worth some serious cash. Yeah, guys, if you check it out, Matt and I did a moments or pack opening of moments for Top Shot. And Matt got a really good pull. So we're excited about some of that content.
Don't give it away, guys. It's Sano's favorite player.
Yeah, getting some packs going forward. We're both going to try.
Do you know what else I was thinking?
Matt was able to.
Do you know what I was thinking, TJ, for content? And you guys can let me know if you guys like this. For any Top Shot fans in here, I was thinking we could do some live streams for maybe trying to flip some moments once we get enough of them.
Dude,
I think that would be very interesting.
Your head.
I know. I keep saying cards, but
yes, I know.
Anyway, a lot of live streams for that stuff.
I like Burks tonight. Yeah, I like Burks as a tournament play. I landed on him in cash, but I don't know if I'm going to stay there. What do you think about Beal? We just touched base on that. Hello from France. Oh, James, what's going on, man? Thanks for being in. Like Beal, especially if Westbrook's out. More of a tournament play for me if Westbrook is in. But if he is out, oh, man, we're about to have 4th and goal here, Matt, for Green Bay from like the 12. Yeah, Beal's a tournament play for me if Westbrook is in. Capella a lock for tournaments if he plays. I wouldn't consider anybody a lock in tournaments, but I do really like him if he's good to go. You like Vooch, Dame, and Kemba as your pay-ups, right? Yeah, I like those guys. Matt likes Matt likes Giannis over Dame. I think you can get one of those guys, and they're both in good spots. So Vooch and Kemba I really do like, and then one of those other two guys between Dame and Giannis are in play. Last minute update on Westbrook. We don't have one yet, man. You guess is as good as ours right now. Now we got a lineup here. We got Lillard, Kemba, Matthews, Reddish, Brown, Jones Jr., and Vooch. I like that. Fournier tonight. Yeah, Jude, I do like Fournier.
Yeah, Fournier's great for GPP.
Yeah, I think he's going to sneak up a little bit here in ownership. He's at 18% right now. So, yeah, I think he's in place. He's looked really good since he's come back. How the heck do you get packs? Oh, Grant, it's not easy, dude. You got to be in the right place at the right time, man. No, they do drops. What, Matt?
Every Monday and Thursday.
Sorry, Monday and Thursday.
If you don't follow them on Twitter, follow them on Twitter, and they'll release like 3 hours in advance when they're going to do the drop, and also in their Discord. It's Top Shot Discord. Easy to find.
And you have to. The first time Matt and I did it, Matt, it was Friday, right?
Yeah, it was Friday.
I
Yeah.
worked from home. Yeah. It
Funny
was
story.
at noon, and there were 25,000 packs available, and they didn't limit as to how many one person could get, and they literally sold out in like
3
4
seconds. Yep.
Yeah, it was insane. So then the next time they did it, they limited 1 pack per person.
Mhm.
But I wasn't as prepared as Matt was, so Matt did get one.
Yeah. And even when I did, there was
Noah-
8,000 left out of 25,000, which is crazy.
Right, yeah, and he got it within like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
How the heck you get the pack? Wait, did the Packers score?
What happened?
Oh, they kicked a field goal.
Why?
Okay.
Do they
and
have
then
3
kicked off 'cause
timeouts?
They got three timeouts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna have to get off soon.
PJ Washington for cash. No. For GPP,
No,
Vooch
yep.
or Capella if playing. Vooch for me. I like Vooch and cash in tournaments. Portis if the Atlanta guys are all out. Bobby Portis, sure. Yeah, he could get some serious time if they blow him out. I like that. I like that logic of thinking, honestly. He could play like 25 minutes in a blowout and get you 40 DraftKings points for sure. Matt, honestly, that's all the questions.
Yeah.
What kind of minutes do you expect to see at Isaac Bonga? I wouldn't go Bonga. Any chance he sees 20? Sure. I think he can play 20. But with that being said, I wouldn't trust him.
I don't have any questions either.
Tournament play if you want to go there, but I don't trust Bonga. Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and sign off?
Yep.
All right, guys. We'll try to catch the very end of this game with everybody. Like I said, if Washington or Atlanta guys are ruled out, join the Discord. We will be giving you guys live updates. I'll be finalizing the cheat sheet soon. Pre-news of Washington and Atlanta. With all that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your NFL Sunday, and let's cash.
Good luck, guys.